welcome back everybody. Here we are at one of our legal conversions in South Windsor. This property here is off of Morris in Norfolk. You guys have already seen the outside of this bungalow. We're currently inside the basement, so we'll give you a little background story as to what's happening in here. When we originally bought this property and started measuring out for conversionability, the unfinished floor to ceiling height was approximately 6'8", and as you guys know, for these legal conversions, finished floor to finished ceiling needs to be 6'8". So we brought an inspector in here and he said that 1 inch he'd let pass. However, when we demoed the place and started walking around this basement, or anyone was walking down here for that matter, it just seemed like it was very low. And you want to give your tenants the best possibility of paying rent on a monthly basis without having a turnover rate. So we figured from a human perspective and for what the purchase price was for this property, that it would be worth the investment to lower the existing floor and get an 8-foot ceiling. And as you can see, that's exactly what we did. Jacked up all the concrete everywhere, ended up digging down to the old footings, which I'll show you here. So that's the old footing, and we went even below that by another 6 to 8 inches so that you could see the footing all the way around the perimeter. And excuse all the water and the mush, but what a lot of people don't know is there's a lot of water sitting underneath all these houses. But if the concrete's done properly, then it'll never seep through. Now, with what we've done so far, you got to understand that you can't just dig down as deep as you did and then pour a new floor, new concrete floor, because what's going to happen is all the external forces are basically going to push in on the old footing and the whole house can collapse on itself or fall apart. So what you need to do is shore up the old footing, and there's 2 processes for that. We'll walk you guys through what we're doing here, which is a benched footing. And the name pretty much says it all. So if you think about it, all along the entire perimeter, you would have a bench that you could go and sit on. So if I show you from this angle here, basically the bench would come out a foot. It's going all the way down along the side of the old footing. What it'll do is it's going to act as a retaining wall so that when you do have those forces from the outside pushing in, our current footing is free to slide inwards. And we're obviously trying to prevent that because of how deep we ended up digging in here. Now, as you can see, all the way around, we already have the bench footing form set up in place so that it's ready for us to pour. And before we could do that, we've got the rebar in place every 16 inches. So that's there again for added strength. And now we'll move into the posts and explain to you what's happening over here. So as you can see, running underneath that entire beam and basically holding the upper floor in place, the old posts were sitting on old footings, something similar to what you see over here. Now, when we dug as deep as we did, if we had poured the new floor, you would have had 3 islands in place, which would have just looked really stupid because of the old footings. So the way around that was for us to go ahead and start with new footings for the new posts, and you can see they're already formed in place along with the bench footing form. The last thing that we have to do here is pump out the water, and as you know or may not know, water will travel to the lowest point, which in this basement is these 2 new footing holes. And we got the inspector coming in tomorrow. So once he takes a look around and makes sure that all the forms in place and all the rebar meet the specs that are in the drawing and gives us the approval, then we can go ahead and start pouring some of the concrete into these footings so that we can move the posts, the new posts, into the new footings. And before we do that, the last step will be these shoring jacks, which have to be in place so that we can keep the support prior to moving everything in place. And then obviously we would pour in the new concrete floor and everything would be flush instead of having the original idea where the islands would have stuck out. And again, this just works out a lot better. There you have it. That is bench footing in a nutshell. Guys, moral of the story here is it's not complicated. I know it doesn't seem like it's simple, but a lot of people might think that they can't do it. It is being done. It can be done. If you're looking in terms of cost effectiveness, anywhere from 20 to 25 grand for bench footing. And again, wasn't much for this property just based on the purchase price and the overall ARV that we would be getting back. Obviously it was worth it to lower the floor and go through with this bench footing journey. And as always, Real Estate Investor Sav, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, DM us if you have any questions, concerns, if you want us to come take a look at a project, you need the expertise in the field, we're always here to help out. We're always here to answer any of your questions. Stay tuned. We'll keep you updated with more live updates as this progresses and show you what everything looks like in the end.